Couple of movers and shakers at women's flyweight as we have Montana De La Rosa taking on Brazil's Taila Santos. Matt, I have to say this right here. All respect given to Taila Santos because, Matt, I've gotten away from locks of the night due in part to Taila Santos beating Molly McCann. I apologize to you, Miss Taila Santos. Overall, this fight incredibly interesting. For Montana De La Rosa, somebody that fans have come to know and love and really appreciate. I know in her last 5 fights, 3-2 so far. Those losses, though, to good competition, Andrea Lee being one. And then in her last fight against a really tough out in Viviane Araújo, future champ, at 125. Big Araújo guy. Now, overall, Montana De La Rosa, really known for her ground game, her wrestling, all-American wrestler. She's got a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Training for this fight actually out of her native Texas, working with Lauren Murphy, mover and shaker at 125 at an advanced age for the division. But overall, Montana De La Rosa, she's won some good fights. She's lost a few good fights. And she's really hanging around in this division. For Taila Santos, 16-1. And you look at the body of work that she did on the regional scene, wasn't against the best level of competition. Comes in and gets a really good win on Dana White's Contender Series. And we have to talk about it over Estefany Almeida. Gets the win there by decision. Unanimous 30-27 with all the judges. Taila Santos, great with her hands. Good takedown defense. And she's more than adept on the ground, too. Very well-rounded fighter. Then she loses a split decision to Mauro Romero Barella, which is a head-scratcher. And if you want to play the MMA math game, the last win that Montana De La Rosa has, Mauro Romero Barella, no longer in the UFC. So Taila Santos comes in as a pretty sizable underdog against Molly McCann. The Allan boys look like donks because we both said that Molly McCann's going to win that fight outright.
We look like donks quite a bit, Craig.
And Taila Santos comes out and puts on an absolute masterclass. Her striking was on point. Molly McCann's right eye was just about swallowed shut after that one. Her takedown defense held up. She looked amazing in that fight. And it looked like for Taila Santos, it was almost like, and this is a stretch, when Cynthia Calvillo came in and fought Jessica in a main event, you were like, wow, Cynthia Calvillo's ceiling at 125, holy smokes, let me tell you. When Taila Santos beat Molly McCann, the world went, wow, her ceiling's incredibly high. Now she's fighting Montana De La Rosa. It's not a weird matchup, but it's kind of a crossroads fight for both of these fighters.
It's a hard one to break down, I'm not going to lie. And it really comes down to where do you put not only the ceiling, but the skill set of Taila Santos this day. Because when you go to the Romero Barella fight, I finally said that right once, that never happens. She didn't look great in that. She got taken down, and she just seemed reactive to a lot of what Romero Barella was doing. It wasn't her leading the dance. Whereas in the Molly McCann fight, not only was her striking really good, we saw what her wrestling offense was like, and she had really good takedowns of her own. Now, does that come down to, well, Molly McCann's takedown defense isn't phenomenal. She's not really known as a grappler, much more of a boxer. Or is Taila Santos really starting to make those improvements in her ground game? And Montana De La Rosa, is a really good test for your grappling because what does she do well? She has very good offensive wrestling. She has really good top control, good submission game as well, good control on top. Her striking leaves a lot to be desired though, and I always go back to the Andrea Lee fight. Andrea Lee fought her like Caitlin Chukagian fights everyone. The only difference was Andrea Lee would actually hit with quite a bit of power, and then she would move. And she'd actually start to land quite a bit of combinations. And Montana De La Rosa, not that she's like Paul Craig in this respect, but you can definitely tell that there comes a certain point in fights when she is fighting a striker and she's starting to get beat where she goes for a lot of panic takedowns. And that is my biggest pet peeve in all of MMA. When Nate Diaz famously said, oh, Conor McGregor, you're a wrestler now. When people do go for those panic shots, you're never going to get them, unless your name's like Derek Lewis, or unless your name's Daniel Cormier against Derek Lewis. It's not the best use of your energy, and that's one of those clear signs that, oh, this person's probably going to lose this fight, because they do go for a lot of those sloppy single legs and just kind of lunging for a leg. I don't know if that's going to happen in this fight, but that's always something you do have to watch out for with Montana De La Rosa. If she is able to get the takedowns, that's when this fight becomes interesting, because I do think Montana De La Rosa is the better wrestler out of these two. I don't think Santos is going to be getting...
I don't think anybody's going to counter you there.
Exactly. I don't think Santos is going to use her wrestling like she did in the Molly McCann fight. I do think this fight's going to take place on the feet for the majority of it, and it really comes down to, can Taila Santos damage Montana De La Rosa enough to where she can't get the takedown, to where every time she's shooting for a leg, she's getting beat up? And Santos has the skills to do that, but she can also be taken down. So it is a big not really crossroads fight. It's a bit of a seesaw fight because it's either going to be a lot of Montana De La Rosa getting the takedowns, getting the ground and pound, really sucking the fight out of Taila Santos, or it's going to be Santos defending those takedowns, really going to the body of Montana De La Rosa and hurting her cardio. So this is going to be a fight of two stories. I just don't really know which side's going to go.
And Matt, you really reference that Andrea Lee fight a lot, but the Montana De La Rosa fight against Viviane Araujo, and I know I've got the scorecards in front of me, 30-27, 30-27, 29-28. You could call the first round a 10-9 maybe for Montana De La Rosa. She did get a takedown. She got outstruck by Araujo. The strikes were a lot closer in the second round, but then that's when De La Rosa's starting to get outstruck a little bit. She's searching for a takedown, misses one there. And then in the third round, she goes for 3 takedowns, isn't able to land any of them. She outstrikes Viviane Araujo, not for as good of a percentage. And if you looked at their faces at the end of the fight, well, if you're just judging it off of that, who won? Viviane Araujo for sure. Montana De La Rosa did not look all that great after that fight. She definitely got outstruck. And as far as the angles were concerned, that's what I like about Viviane Araujo. Really good head movement, really good top movement. She can really land combinations well. For Montana De La Rosa, more square angles than anything, and that's where she can really get exposed against that high-level striker. Can Taila Santos do that in this fight? Well, we're going to find out on Saturday. As far as the odds are concerned in this one, Matt, Taila Santos actually opened as a really big favorite. Minus 265. That line shrunk. She's now minus 208 average on best fight odds. For Montana De La Rosa, open at plus 185. She's now a plus 170 underdog. Over on Tapology, it's pretty cut and dry with the fans. Out of 671 total votes, 84% going with Taila Santos, 86% with her to win by decision. It is an interesting fight, and it is more or less a clash of styles, I'd like to say, because, again, I agree with you. Montana De La Rosa is a really good wrestler, and she's a pretty good grappler, too, and it's just bringing everything together. Exactly. That win over Mara Romero Barella, a weird fight. There were points in that fight where Mara Romero Barella, you're sitting there screaming at your TV the fact that she could have gone for a choke. She could have gone for a twister at one point, and the broadcast was saying it, but, again, didn't really realize it. And, again, it's Mara Romero Barella, no longer in the UFC, but still, there were some sketchy points in that fight. I don't expect Taila Santos to even want to take the fight to the ground. I expect her to want to strike in this one for sure.
I don't think you can ever fault a fighter for not finishing a twister. There's only ever been 2 of them in UFC history, so I wouldn't look into that a lot. Where the odds are doesn't make any sense. Now, I do think Montana De La Rosa is going to win this fight regardless of the odds. I do think it's a decent underdog pick. I like her wrestling, and I do wonder a little bit about the wrestling defense of Taila Santos, especially if Mara Romero Barella was able to take her down multiple times. It comes down to, and again, we've been over this, if Santos can defend those first couple takedowns and really force De La Rosa to be uncomfortable on her feet, because that's what it comes down to. Montana De La Rosa as a striker, I wouldn't even say she is average. I do think that there are some serious holes in her stand-up, but I don't know if this is the fight or if Santos is the type of opponent that can really take advantage of those. We've seen Araujo was able to do that, but she's a very high-level striker. Andrea Lee was able to do that, but again, her striking is quite high level. So when Montana De La Rosa fights those type of fighters, she is going to come into some trouble. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to label Taila Santos as one of those fighters just yet. This could be one of those fights where I'm completely wrong. Santos goes out there, and I think really high for moving forward, but it's just really hard to say that right now, at this moment, she could beat a fighter like Montana De La Rosa.
Matt, I had to go back and watch the regional fights of Taila Santos. I definitely like what I saw. And as far as that Mara Romero Barella fight, she was able to defend the late takedown attempts from Mara Romero. So if you can kind of work off of that, well, I mean, that's similar to the game plan that Montana De La Rosa normally goes with. And again, Taila Santos lost that fight. For what it's worth, it was a split decision too, so there is that. But overall, really like the striking of Taila Santos. If the takedown defense holds up, if she can keep her back and keep posted up against the fence, I think she has a great shot. She could be a 125-er Jermaine Durandamy. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be great? She's not the same level striker, but hey, who knows? Overall, I like this fight. I'm going with Taila Santos in this one. Yeah. She won me over with the performance over Molly McCann. If you can beat a fighter like McCann with the boxing, if you can work your takedown defense just a little bit more as you go on, Taila Santos could be a force. I know odds makers agree with that, and I know the fans do as well. So I'm going to go with Taila Santos here. You're going to disagree with me.
Again, I can't disagree with anything you said, but again, her best win is Molly McCann. And could Montana De La Rosa take down Molly McCann 5 times and beat her that way? Well, that would probably be her game plan. So it's just really hard to gauge where Taila Santos is in her career. Again, if she beats Montana De La Rosa, then I'm on the train. I'm just not there yet, so I still got De La Rosa.
Matt, I'm really looking forward to this one. It should be a good fight. You're going with Montana De La Rosa. I'm going with Taila Santos, and it is a very interesting card. A lot of under-the-radar fights, especially on the prelims, so make sure you check those out in the playlist. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt, as we always say.
Let's get into it.